Good evening, everyone. My name's Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading's Miami office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is Monday, October the 28th, 2013, and here is today's After the Bell Market Summary video brought to you by WallStreetTrading.com. If you have not had a chance to check out the website, please do so. There's a lot of free information on the site, educational information on the site. At the same time, you can watch our videos there from our video archive, which is located under the My Wall Street TV tab in the upper right hand side. And you can find out some more about our company and see some of our services and things that we provide to our traders and followers. Aside from that, let's go and take a look at the market analysis here. The Dow was pretty much flat day. It was down a point, nothing. Flat. NASDAQ was down 3.25. Another flat day there, and the S&P 500 was up a little 2.25. Flat day. They're pretty much flat across the market. Volume was low. I think a lot of it had to be with people just waiting for the earnings for Apple to come out and maybe some of these other key reports we have coming out. We did have some bad news come out today regarding the home sales. If I'm not mistaken, they say that the home sales index fell to its lowest level from I think of December 2010 or June 2010. I'm not mistaken. Either way, it was not good. It was it was forecasted to be in the range of down 2% to up 3.5%, and it was actually down 0.56%. So the housing market is supposed to be the center of strength for the economy, but one couldn't tell from the pending home sales report, which has been down, not up, for the 4 months in a row. That's what they're saying on econoday.com, which is a good website you can use to look for the market economic data and a breakdown of how to interpret it, etc. Go check it out. All right, so let's go ahead and break down the stocks here, starting off with the S&P 500 ETF. SPY closed at 176.23, closed up 28 cents. Again, right now we're just cruising along the rising 8 EMA and S8 EMA SMA and the 5 EMA SMA. And you can see how all the moving averages are starting to move further apart, which is telling us that the trend is getting stronger. However, we are just grinding higher, which is kind of hard to play the market if you're getting a slow grind up. So that's when traders, professional traders, or just individuals that know how to play the rotation will start looking at different sectors that are at good key levels that you could buy at, or of course stocks that are maybe at good key levels that are showing relative weakness that you can short those names up here. It all depends how you're approaching the market, but in general, what I'm trying to say here, it's a stock pickers market. So since the market's kind of quiet today, you really have to look at individual names instead of trying to play the broad market indices. And there were a couple of names that moved today. I mean, in general, you had some action in J.C. Penney, some action in UPS. Some of the consumer goods names, they did pretty well. P&G, Procter Gamble, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Philip Morris. You had some action in BMY for the healthcare. Alcoa was up 3.5%. CF Industries up 4%. DO and NBR, two oil energy companies, were up over 2%. KAM CAM up 2%. BRCM up 2.25. So I mean, there's definitely some action out there, guys. The financials were a little bit weak to flat today, so not really seeing much there. And then again, we had some weakness in the REITs in the home building sector as that number came out bad on the economic data report regarding the home sales or pending home sales. All right, so S&P 500, again, stick with the trend. It's still moving up until we see some type of big distribution candle telling us that okay, the little maybe short-term mini top is in. Again, you want to be focusing on buying strong stocks on dips until things change. All right, and you want to make sure you're trading the right sectors. Let's go and take a look at the Nasdaq 100 ETF, the triple Qs. You can see this thing here is pretty much just trading sideways a little bit now, dying out a little bit up here. Apple came out with earnings. The stock sold off all the way down to the stock sold off all the way down to say 503 and got a nice bounce, and now it's trading back at 533. Actually, going back up towards its earnings, towards its after hours post market highs from its report, which was around 542. And you had a lot of buyers that came in here after hours and held that bid around the 515 level. So we'll see how that trades tomorrow. Obviously, if Apple is trading above, say, its previous 3-day high area or Friday's highs above 533, that will be bullish. And right now it's trading 535 after hours. And this thing's in a nice little power trend for the past 2 weeks. So keep an eye on Apple. Definitely will give a good, definitely will play into how the market sentiment is going on right now. Okay, so keep an eye on Apple. Amazon, another technology stock that has been doing pretty well. Little pullback action today. Had a very big gap on Friday, and then today you got some little sellers trying to come in here and move it down a bit. We do have some rising moving averages up here. Keep an eye on that. You can also see how much of this gap it retraces. If it retraces 50% of this gap and you see some buyers coming in there, well, then you may want to look at that as a viable dip. But again, strong stocks are meant to be bought on dips in this environment, and Amazon's one of them. This thing has just been on fire, and you want to maybe let it pull back again before you even think about getting involved in it up here. And if you guys have been watching our videos, all right, we've been talking about Amazon's ever since it broke down out of this little downward bullish channel into the consolidation range from the breakout. Gave you guys a heads up on a good area to buy it, which was back down here, right at the retested range breakout that we had, and then back up to the top side. So we've been all over this stock. If you guys could go back and check out the videos, you guys will see that for yourselves. We just recommend that we just would like to see you guys share our videos, tell your friends about the website, show them the different type of analysis and good work that we do over here. So Amazon needs to get bought on a pullback. Again, do not buy it up here. So what other action do we have going on? Let's go ahead and finish going to the market indices. Let's take a look at the IWM, which is a Russell 2000 index here. Again, this one's in a strong, nice little uptrend. You can see the big upward channel that we have in play right there with the 50% trend line to kind of help us gauge the channel strength. And you can see right now, IWM is really just trading sideways in the range between 110 and say 111 quarter. This is giving you a setup for either a breakout towards the top of the channel or either move down towards the bottom of the 50% trend line or at least a break below 110 level. Let me zoom back in here. So it's trading in a range between 110 and say a 111.25. And once this thing breaks out this range, it's either going to give you a move to the top side to touch the top of that channel right here. That should be coming in around this little area right here. So, or it's going to make a move back down towards 110 and try to get some gap fill action and maybe make its way back down to retest this little 108 area, which was where the breakout occurred 2 weeks ago. But again, right now, this big up move, the whole overbought action on the market here on the IWM could get digested if we just trade sideways. All right, so keep an eye on the IWM here. Gold looking pretty interesting because the gold miners are finally starting to catch a bid, and gold is finally trying to work its way back inside this big yellow downward channel that broke down earlier in the year that we've been tracking. Because once gold gets back inside of this little downward channel that broke right here, which then was followed by an inverted cup and handle pattern, which was then followed by a cup and handle pattern that did not break out, and now we're again right back at this little key channel. So if we could get back inside this little yellow shaded channel area, all right, we would be looking for a move back in gold towards 1380 an ounce, and then maybe back up there towards 1400 and 1420. We'll see how that plays out. Obviously, there's going to need to be some type of catalyst to give gold that extra momentum push that needs to get up there in a fast manner. But aside from that, gold has been acting a little bit more bullish. All right, the gold miners, the GDX, which is the gold miners ETF, has been trading pretty well. All right, and if you guys have been trading or tracking this ETF for the past couple months, if not for a year or so, you already know how this thing has been. How you should be able to see how the sentiment's starting to change a little bit into it, as some buyers are coming into the GDX and those gold mining names and buying them up little by little each day. Of course, they don't close. Some of them are not closing on their highs, but they're holding up there. Just take a look at AEM, which was up over was up over 3%. So they gave a little bit back. You could take a look at GG. All right, another good name that a lot of retail traders and big institutions look to buy when gold's on its way back up, or the gold miners are on the way shit. I'm trying to talk here too fast. Or the gold miners are on its way when they're on the way back up. Let's see here, ABX. Sorry about that, guys. I get too ahead of myself sometimes when I try to explain this stuff. ABX looks a little bit interesting as well. They have earnings coming out. Looks like next week or later on this week. I'm seeing a possible inverted head and shoulders pattern here. Right, that's what I'm looking out for, with the neckline being around 22 or so, which again, the catalyst for that break above that area, if this pattern plays out, this bottoming pattern plays out, could be the earnings that they have coming out. What day is this exactly here? Exactly. This day is on the 31st, so Thursday. So keep an eye on ABX and some of these other gold mining names. Crude oil getting a nice bounce. We talked about crude oil being a buy around this 98, 97 area. It actually went down to 96. Well, why were we thinking that? Well, if you take a look at the technical analysis here on the chart, All right, prior resistance broke out right back here, so now acts as support. We did expect some flash action. If you guys recall from the video that I put out on Wednesday, last week Wednesday, I mentioned the fact that based on how this candlestick closed, we could get a little flash down action, which would then be a good buying opportunity down in this little area. Well, guess what, guys? That's exactly what happens. You could have played that via the USO or going long crude oil futures or selling maybe some crude oil futures puts against 96 or selling some USO puts, collecting that premium. The different ways you could have played it. Whole uh, the whole well, I should say the real important thing was the fact that you were able to recognize, well, you should have been able to recognize that this was a possible buyer. You start looking for some long positions, or at least trying to position yourself a little bit long or nibble at some longs in this area. Which that so far that whole idea is working out there. So keep an eye on crude oil. Could get a nice little bounce. I mean, there's a lot of energy stocks that are looking good. Halliburton's one that I would definitely be keeping an eye on for if it breaks out above today's highs and continues making its way towards 53. I like the way that's looking. Schlumberger, another name that has been trading pretty strong for the year, and it's looking pretty good. Nice little uptrend there. You had DEO pop up today. This is another oil driller. Not sure how this one looks. This one is not has not been trading that well, but definitely has been trying to get a bounce down here, and it's back above that key 62 level. I would keep an eye on this one if it can hold above 62. Let's see. CAM Cam had a good day today. And this one has been getting crushed. No wonder why I had a little oversold balance today. So there's some energy names out there that you have to keep an eye on. All right. Let's go and take a look at a couple of stock symbols here. Starting off with the financials, Goldman Sachs. All right, Goldman Sachs is still in this little channel that we've been watching. All right, if it gets above the 50% trend line of this channel, we'll be looking for a move back up towards the upper part of that channel, upper range of that channel around 170, 150. Keep an eye on this name here, Goldman Sachs. Let's go and take a look at JP Morgan. All right, JP Morgan's chopping around right now. This does not look interesting to me. It's something that I will probably be staying away from until it gets a better setup on the chart. Bank of America, flat day there, still hanging above above that 14 level, so hanging out up there. Looks pretty good. What else here? Morgan Stanley. This one was down a little bit today. Morgan Stanley down close to 1%. Looks like it may want to pull back in a bit. Again, you have a nice little trend line coming in on Morgan Stanley. Take this low, connect this low. You can see they have been playing that little trend line area. So let's see here. Morgan Stanley, nice little trend line support around say 27, 25. Of course, it's at 28 right now. Then you also have this little upward channel that's kind of in play on Morgan Stanley as well. All right. So the banks are kind of dying out right now. They're losing some of that momentum, but as long as they don't, make a full-fledged reversal to the downside, that's all right. They're still hanging in there. All right. Citigroup hanging in there, right? Rallied up, pulled back a little bit, trying to hold some support around this 49.90, call it 50 area. We'll keep an eye on that one. All right. Some other stocks that were in play today. BMY. This one broke out pretty nice today. Broke out over this 50 level. Keep an eye on this one for tomorrow. Should give you another little quick cash flow trade scalp if it breaks above this 52.40 area. So I'm actually putting alert right now for me and my guys there. What else? What other action we're looking at today? Procter and Gamble. Again, some of these consumer goods names popped up today. Procter and Gamble. Just look at this one. This one's been trading in a big sloppy range between 75 and 82. Going back up near the top of the range. If this thing gets some momentum, it could possibly break out over 82. We'll keep an eye on that one. So Procter and Gamble, KO. All right, getting a nice bounce. This one looks pretty good as well. If this thing could trigger a nice little momentum break over today's highs, start working its way back up here towards these 41s. And then you can also take a look at Philip Morris, which was up 1.5%. Again, a lot of action today in these consumer goods names here. Keep them on your radar. Texas Instruments, semiconductor stocks been holding up pretty well. Definitely gives you a nice little trigger to get long if it breaks out over, say, 41.11. All right, the 52-week high on this stock is up here around 41.23, which it made last week Monday. So keep an eye on this name. Actually, going to put another alert. It breaks over 41, say 41 quarter. All right, let's see what Intel's doing. Let's take a look at some of these other semiconductor names. Intel's looking pretty good. Qualcomm, again, this stock's going to be in play from Apple's earnings. Right, they do a lot of business with Apple. But Qualcomm looks pretty interesting as well. Looks decent. They have earnings coming out next week. It looks like CRUS, this stock's going to be in play from Apple's earnings. All right, this thing needs to get over $26. All right, right now it's been chopping around. Let's take a look at some of these high flyer names that a lot of momentum traders have been playing. Netflix down $14 today, breaking below last week's pivot low, and now should be making its way possibly back down here towards 288.12. All right, so keep an eye on that Netflix. What are some other names here? Tesla. And these are some momentum names that have, I would say, started dying out a bit. Well, at least Tesla has. Netflix just sold off from their earnings news. It may need to digest that big move it had. But Tesla's starting to lose a little bit of momentum. They have earnings coming out next week, so maybe some people are taking profits off the table from this big move it had this year. I mean, think about it. The stock was at $38 earlier in the year, and it hit a high of 190 earlier in the month here on the first. See, another stock that's been in play, GMCR. Let's see what this bad boy is doing. GMCR has just been a dog moving to the downside. I really don't see nothing set up right there right now. I just wanted to take a look at it. HLF. I was hearing them talking about the stock on the squawk today a little bit, and you can see it must have had earnings after the bell today. Take a look here. Yeah, they had earnings after the bell today, and the stock spiked all the way to a high of 71.40, and now it's trading 67.30. So it's still hanging in there. No big move up, no big move down. It's just kind of chopping around right now after hours. Nothing too crazy there. That's about it, guys. Again, a quiet market today. You really got to be stock specific. Let me take a look at CF real quick here. CF had a big day up today. Nice little gap up there. And we'll be tracking this one again to see how it goes moving forward and see if it brings any action to that whole agriculture sector, such as Monsanto, which looks pretty good. Looks like it wants to make new 52-week highs sometime this year. See how Mosaic is looking. Mosaic, not so much. Potash, not so much. And IPI, not so much. So it looks like Monsanto is one name to watch. Monsanto and CF would be the names that you would want to be watching in the agriculture sector. Those stocks start to catch a bid. Aside from that, folks, we'll have some more ideas tomorrow. Again, today was pretty much a slow day in the broad market indices, but we'll keep an eye on these specific stock picks that we've been doing pretty well in, and we'll keep you guys posted. Have a great day, folks. Cheers.